Our designer handbook for creating actively used care setting gardens came out of our research into understanding why care home gardens were often not used, often soon after the excitement of a new garden had faded. Working with fellow designer Mark Rendell, we wanted to work out what we were missing and what it would take to ensure our own gardens would be used long after we had left, and to support care settings in ensuring that their residents could step outside as and when they wanted. This study challenged us from the start, making us have to revisit our designer thinking in relation to organisational culture. Very often our first conversation with a care client begins with a brief and often a wish list of the things they think will make them use their garden more. At one home we were provided with a brief including a wish list of £20,000 to £30,000 of items that they felt would make their garden used more. But Mark and I wanted to investigate why they were not using the existing garden, a bland but perfectly safe space. What we found was a locked door. This was due to the lack of a handrail at a step that the staff had deemed unsafe. This item was not on the wish list. It was not even on their radar. And so there was a high risk that this redesigned garden would become as unused as the garden they already had. Throughout this study, we often see the garden blamed for its lack of use, when in reality the reason lays elsewhere, often hidden within the organisation's deeply held beliefs and practices within its culture. Our study identified the need for garden designers to match and support the current care organisation's culture, allowing the care setting to improve their care practices, as this is the driver for successfully used gardens long term, and so reduce the likelihood of creating a space that becomes unused once the novelty has worn off. This finding reflects the nature of working with an organisational client, where the success of the garden relies on many people's input, as opposed to working with our domestic clients with a smaller number of people involved. So just as we would check the site and the soil to choose the right plant for the right place, so our relationship-centred design approach allows you to provide your design support within the context of the organisational culture and ensuring that the care setting is able to provide their person-centred care delivery. Our designer handbook explores this through a care culture banding tool, which will guide you through the questions to ask, the things you might see, and the areas to investigate further. These help identify where along a spectrum of care towards person-centred your care client sits, and then it guides you to the appropriate support while enabling their own improvements to the organisational practice where needed. Through a range of real-life examples, we explore the organisational impact on garden engagement and a number of common areas that needs to be addressed. For some settings, we may need to simply be the voice for the garden, which may be wrongly blamed for not being used. Supporting a home to simply unlock the door and use what they already have may be enough for the very first visit. This alone is likely to change the brief, simply by them having been in the garden more, and so a designer needs to be prepared to be flexible in the way they provide their support. Our tools provide a structure to give you confidence in flagging the contradictions you might see and hear on the ground, and for areas that might need to be addressed alongside or even before you provide any design changes to the garden. So during our work, we saw examples of positive engagement that were at odds to the designer guidance, and equally, we've seen where our guidance can be at odds to the care sector's regulatory requirements. We've also seen the inadvertent but good intentioned building back in of barriers that have hindered engagement to the garden by the care setting. The final section of our book explores a range of wider insights that still need further research and that you can have in mind during your work. These can assist you in balancing the choices you make in collaboration with your client to ensure long-term success. So why not join our mission that flips our original question into an invite that's heard in all care homes, enabling residents to step out freely? So why don't we go into the garden? To find out more or get your copy of our book, why not visit our website today?